this is your first R-rated animated feature. What creative muscles were you excited that you got to flex in this that you hadn't had the opportunity to do before?
Well, I think to do, comedy for adults, right? Like I've done, almost 30 years of children's television or kid television, and we did a lot of comedy there that adults always reacted to. But then to do it for an adult audience, it's a whole different pressure, and you're going to be judged differently and everything. And to still make it feel like it's animated and it's not just a sitcom, because when you look at successful, adult animated programming comedy, they're very sitcom-y, right? It's less from the visuals and more just from the writing, which is fine. But for me, because I'm from such an animation background, I still wanted it to feel like you're laughing at movement and funny drawings, funny ideas, and the energy of the animation. So I think those were the same muscles, but very different, and from a different. Now we're getting judged on the same level as like Judd Apatow movies and stuff. So it's definitely I had to kind of get over everything and then just kind of do what I do.
Yeah. Oh, I want to hear more about that because I read how you kind of likened that as a little bit of your inspiration was movies like 40-Year-Old Virgin. So when you were creating this, as things were rolling out, what was it exactly that you feel like stayed stuck with your inspiration and what evolved along the way?
Well, and so the whole idea stemmed from my childhood friends, right? Because they make me laugh like no one else can, right? And so the idea was, well, how can I translate that into animation and into an animated movie? And as I started the process of kind of exaggerating the personalities of my friends, I started to realize like, oh yeah, this is, and I think the Judd movies came around at that time also. Oh, he's doing the same thing. He's got these amazing buddies. There's an instant chemistry between them. They make fun of each other because that's all we do for the most part. And that translates to a really big audience. So I knew I had something. And then so the movie originally was called Buds, just about the friends. And then I pitched it to Sony and they liked it. She actually got the idea of it, but then she goes, "You need a concept around it to bring it all together." And then in that room, within seconds that she said it, it struck me. Well, like, oh, well, they're dogs, and one of them finds out they're going to get neutered in the morning, and that was it, right? The whole room laughed, and then we were kind of off and running. And my like comedic inspiration, I mean, first of all, Mel Brooks is a big part of it, right? From a kid to now, his movies make me laugh. Like, Young Frankenstein is just, probably almost perfect, right? And it's the character comedy that really shines. And then Dumb and Dumber, I thought was so funny. Of course, Bridesmaids, 40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up, all that thing really works for me. And then going back to Blake Edwards and Peter Sellers so I knew it's all comedic comedy with some raunch. I mean, character comedy with some raunch. And so that was what we were trying to do.
I feel like you are the perfect guy for that. And I'm curious too because I've heard you say that you feel like action sometimes tells more truth than dialogue. Where did you lean into that in this movie? Like, how did that work when you're talking about a dog that's about to get neutered?
Right. It is, I think emotions, like when we it's like seeing somebody cry like this versus seeing their back in low lighting and the music comes in. There's this hiding of something dramatic sometimes is more dramatic than showing all of it because of we put ourselves then in that moment, you know and that's a big lesson. I think probably like Jaws is the best example of that, where the shark broke, he couldn't use it, and so the idea and the camera work was scarier than actually seeing the whole thing, right? It's that less is more. And so with emotions and stuff, I try to be very sensitive because I hate insincere emotions, right? So you try to be as real as we can, and to do kind of a love story also, it's hard, right? And I don't have the benefit of a actor who, you look at whatever, Brad Pitt or Matt Damon, whoever, you instantly know what they're feeling because you know them and they're real, right? This is a drawing, a cartoony drawing of a dog. And so how do you imbue emotion and feelings into that, right? That's the kind of the crazy and amazing thing about animation. It's all manufactured, right? It's all like we're just drawing it and it comes to life with music and dialogue and motion. And that's why I love it, because I could elicit a response, a laugh or whatever, an energy from a drawing.
So where did you have the most fun with this?
I mean, making it, selling it was a disaster. It's so hard, right? But once we finally sold it, I was able to hire like my favorite animators. And I got really fortunate that a lot of these great animators were available. And because I've always wanted to be an animator, that's what got me into the industry.
Mm.
To have something like this that they really never animate, they're like ex-Disney animators and, been all over town. To have an opportunity to see them do this type of material was something so amazing. And so every Friday we would have an animation review and it would be incredible, because everybody'd be laughing and then everyone starts to try to one up each other and do a funnier scene or whatever. And so the animation had an energy, and that elevated the humor, I think, and the jokes because they were delivered by some great animators, which are great actors.
Mhm. Very true. Oh, I would have loved to have been in those meetings.
There's some really funny stuff where we're like bulls humping, and it wasn't looking right, so I had to like redraw the humping, and I would flip, and then it shows him humping properly, and everybody's laughing, and it was all pretty ridiculous. Yeah.
So, was there a moment in Fixed where you thought like, "Oh, this joke might actually get us in trouble"? And did you keep it in?
Yeah, well, because you saw the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the scene at the very end, right? The big confession, the climax scene. Like that's the most riskiest scene in a way, but at the same time the funniest and the most emotional in a way, right?
Mhm.
And so I always told myself, and that was conceived in the very first script version, right? And because we all laughed at that scene so much and we understood what that scene is about, I said to myself, whoever buys this movie will understand what that scene is about. And whoever doesn't understand the movie, they're going to want to remove that scene first. And that's exactly what happened. Once we started to see how other people read it, and like the new executive came in and she was like, well, you can't do this scene. And I'm like, no, this is what the whole movie's about, is just this, right? And so that was part of it. The Lucky and Frankie story, uh everybody was afraid a bit, and so throughout we were riding the wave of what is okay, and then shockingly even the squirrel getting ripped apart,
Mhm.
that was like a big no initially. And I was like, really? Because it's so shocking and unexpected. And then I would say, like, no, no, this is what everybody's going to laugh at because it is so crazy to watch. And sure enough, at our one of our first preview screenings, it got a huge reaction, and that's it. And so it's been in ever since.
I can't imagine those parts not being in. To hear you say that out loud, I'm like, no, but that is the essence of the movie. Is like you need those shocking parts in there, and that's what
Yeah,
appeals to an adult audience.
yeah. But
Absolutely.
and that's the whole dynamic of the process of making this movie, is because when we were making it at Sony, all they've done is family films as far as animation, right? So they've done the Hotel Transylvanias and the whatever, Spider-Verses, whatever. That's all we know. And so now you're taking the people who are the guardians of that and then you put him into an adult rated R situation, it's twice as shocking as it would be to like a normal executive working in R-rated material, right? So that was the that was the crazy ride we were riding.
So, how would you describe this movie to an audience? I mean, you're looking at people who love comedy and character-driven comedy and animation, and particularly the kind of work that you do. Um, and the actors that you have in this, the talent, the voice talent that you have, you just looking at the big picture, what are people in store for?
Well, I think it's like you have to kind of sit back and accept what you're watching, because I realize that it is kind of shocking because there's not a lot of it around, right? But then it becomes very like sincere and truthful. I think I use that word a lot because that's what I really try to do. I'm not pandering or trying to sell you something. I'm telling you this story, and it's a bromance, it's a romance, it's ridiculous, it's raunchy, and it's fun, and it's all wrapped around this good animation that's almost nostalgic because it's kind of old school animation, done in a contemporary story, and that's what the kind of the magic ingredient of it all is. The animation ties it all together, because it's actually really good and it's character animation.
Yeah. Yeah. And the cast involved, how was that collaboratively? Like, did you know who you wanted? Like, how did that kind of come together?
Yeah, it's like I had an idea for the character types that we wanted, right? And honestly, in the beginning, I didn't think anybody would do would do this movie because it's also like, when we're doing it, it's right at the PC culture era, right? So everybody's super sensitive about what they do, and they don't want to say the wrong thing, and people are getting canceled and all that kind of stuff. And so here comes this raunchy rated R film, and like Adam Devine was great because he does that anyways, so he was an easy fit, and brought great energy and is exactly what Bull is. And then we had some names, and Idris was at the top for the kind of the tough guy, right? And I was like, well, there's no way he's going to do it. He's like a legit actor. He was in talks to become James Bond, right? How is he going to do this film? And I sent him some drawings and the script, and he totally got it, and he loved it. And I think you needed people who understand comedy, and usually great dramatic actors understand comedy, right?
Yeah.
And so he agreed to do it. So that was incredible. So it started to come together. And with Catherine Hahn, I worked with her for Hotel Transylvania 3. And she was awesome because we sent her the script and she called me and she goes, look, I'll do it, but you have to write me as funny and raunchy as the guys. Because initially we were kind of holding back because we didn't know. And we're like, yes, of course. And then we rewrote her part and it was great. And she loved it.
So good.
Yeah.
Everybody just jived so well together. All right, lastly, if your career were a cartoon character, what would it look like? And what would its catchphrase be?
I would probably be some kind of a mixture because I do different things, right? So it'd be some kind of a mutant-y, weird dog human type thing. And it would be you ain't seen nothing yet, maybe, right?
That's awesome.
After 30 years, I still feel like I'm starting in a way, and I keep trying to do new things and etc.
Oh, well, a lot of people, your fans, are going to absolutely love this, and to see you in this role has been incredible. So I'm excited to see what you do next.
Awesome. Thank you. So am I.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.